Cool, guys. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. This is Shane from Dad's Little Warriors Dad Talk, and we're on to season two, man. Season two is going to be with some dads, and I'm really excited about this season. Let guys kind of show, their insight on being a dad, what made them the dad they are today, and yeah. So here today we got my buddy Logan, man. It's one of those guys that you feel like you've known forever, and when you talk to him, you're just like he's one of your dudes. Yeah, we met through everything. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But this is Logan. I kind of just want to introduce you and everything like that coming into the podcast. Appreciate you coming on, man, and appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It is funny, we've never actually met,
That's the
but I
first time I've
feel
ever
like
seen you.
yeah. Only seen you in pictures and never
Right,
talked
right,
to you, but yeah, uh, it's funny how the disability community like brings people together,
for sure, man.
and it's you just feel like you're connected even though you've never actually met. So I
You
feel
do.
like we're great friends,
Hmm.
and yeah, dude, this is the first time we've ever talked, so I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on.
Nah,
I'm
man, and
excited.
that's what this is all about. So, Logan, slid in my DMs one day. No, but so my wife, she does photography, and she got hooked up with Sydney and Odell with Walker. And they were in the Moors, and Sam was doing she donates time and everything like that for kids in the Moors, doing pictures. Flashes of Hope is the photography thing there. And she got hooked up with them, and it was kind of a lengthy process, really, because it was one of those things that, like, somebody knew somebody that wasn't really supposed to say anything. And long story short, she ended up getting connected with Sydney, and it was really cool. And then I started this Dad's Little Warriors thing, and Sydney ended up finding out about it, and all that stuff, and then she shared it, and I guess that's when you seen it, and dude, I could just
Yeah.
tell you were like all in right from the gate.
Absolutely, man. It's funny. Sydney and Odell are like just like me and you. It's like
Yeah.
we've never met them,
Yep.
never even talked to them, but I feel like uh, we have a connection. Both our children have the same type of skeletal dysplasia,
Hmm.
and so that's how Sydney and my wife got connected via
Yeah.
social media. And yeah, they like text on the side like all the time. It's just so cool, like what social media, can do and bring people together.
It is, man.
Like,
I
and then
mean,
here we are talking. It's
exactly.
like this is awesome.
We would never met. You're in Colorado. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We're
yeah.
we're in Maryland. We would have never crossed paths if it wasn't
Nope.
for something like this. And that's what I try to do. When we were in the NICU and everything like that. Like, this stuff is all new to me. You know what I mean? Like, when this happened back in June, it was like just bam. You know what I mean? Like, I knew nothing about, her having a disability, or, not that you can really, I
Hmm.
feel like you can even prepare for that or anything like that. But it hit me, dude, and it fucking hit me hard. I was like shocked, surprised, mad, numb, all that stuff. And like I'm going through all these emotions, and I'm just like, I've got friends and some family and stuff like that you can turn to, but in the midst of the moment that you're in, you're like, fuck, man, I just there was nobody, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to do this. Like, whether it takes off and it actually becomes something or doesn't, I can at least say that I tried, and I was trying to
Yep.
be there for somebody,
Well, and it's like the perfperfect brand,
Yeah.
right? Like Dad the Little Warriors. Like that's what our children are.
Yeah.
They're literally like they're way stronger than you and I
They
are,
are,
like
100%.
hands down, right? Like these our children are these little warriors. So as soon as I saw that, I think Odell was wearing a shirt or a hat. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I got to immediately Google this brand and like buy all the shirts that you had, like, and then start sending them to other disability dads that I was just like, I know that it's gonna like lift them up, and it is exactly what it did.
And
Like,
that's what
so
I
your
thought.
brand is awesome, dude.
I
Like,
appreciate that, but that's what I love about you, and that's why I feel like we're so tight, is because I'm like, this dude sees it. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like, he feels it, he sees it, and like anybody that's willing to like try to lift somebody up like that, like that's what my brand stands for.
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing is that I want to be there for other dads, even if like not other dads can talk about stuff, but they're going through it. You know what I mean? And they might do it in silence, which everybody has their own way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
Um, but you did, dude. You just kept on, and I'm like, this fucking guy. I'm like, like I fucking love him, you know what I mean? And like honestly, like it's not $1 million business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not what it's about, and that's not
No.
why I build it. Like I come from having my own shop where I did, $5,000 job, $10,000 job and everything like that. Like, man, I'm selling, $30 t-shirts that or $20, $25 t-shirts that cost me, 15, $20 to make. Like it's not even about that. It's the fact that like, people like you that are going through and like, hey man, I know this dude that like would be shocked. And that's why like I do what I do just on the back end of things too, of like I like writing the notes. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I'm big into that of like, hey man, I'll even if I don't know, like, people that you send, stuff to, I'll be like, all right, dude, I gotta dig this dude up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the one
Yep.
dude, Matt. You know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta dig this dude up,
Yeah, and
find
that's
out what his
huge, man. It's
nickname
huge to
is.
have that personal note. That's
Yeah,
huge. That's almost even cooler than getting a T-shirt, right? It's like you just got a personal note that you might be having the worst day in the world,
yeah,
and just that little like, "Hey, man, keep kicking ass."
yep,
Like that right there, like can change somebody's day.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely keep doing that
No, I
because
appreciate it, man.
that's
And
that's awesome.
I will say the busier I've gotten, it's not turned into the letters.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
yeah,
like, not a normal, not a scripted, but just kind of like, man, I think like, there's been times I've wrote like when I know personally about somebody and something that they're going through, I'll be like, dude, you get like a fucking page. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
know you, I know what you're going through, man. You got to stick it out and you got to roll with it. Um, but yeah, man, like it's definitely one thing, screw the typed shit, the postcards and all that stuff. As long as I'm doing this stuff, man, it's definitely going to be handwritten shit, like personalized name on it. Because that's what I would want. That's what I needed when
Hmm.
I was in the NICU, with our daughter and staying there, sleeping there every day, 24 hours a day. Like I could have used that, you know,
For sure.
I could have definitely used that.
And that's one thing about guys. Good friend of mine here, we had the same conversation. Is like when you're in the hospital with your kid, like your wife's phone will be blowing up,
Yeah, yeah.
right? All her friends will be, "Hey, I'm thinking about you, praying for you. Like, how's your child doing? Whatever, dude." And all the guys' phones
Mhm.
completely silent, right? Like
It's
nobody's
great.
texting you.
Yep.
And so it's little things like that, like getting a note from another guy, like that, in the times when you're going through it, or even just like a quick text message, like it's unbelievable what that does.
It is, man. I mean,
Like,
I remember my first daughter, Lulu, which she just turned 2. We pretty much back to backed it, not planned, but that's how it happened. And the first dude that texted me, something about like, hey man, congratulations. And like I'm just like, dudes do this. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
had no clue, and like Lulu's, her birth was like pretty normal. I mean, we had a couple little complications and stuff like that. Excuse me, but she was fine. You know what I mean? Like she didn't have any issues. And like I'm like, and I think I said it in one of my own podcasts and stuff, like I felt like a dickhead, that I wasn't there
yeah,
for my buddies like previously that had kids before me, So like thinking about that now and you saying it, I'm just like, that's what we need. Like we're dudes, we don't ask for that stuff. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But like we want it. You know what I mean? Like it does make a big difference.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we started that same buddy of mine, like, started a disability dads group out here.
Nice.
Um, and that's been huge. It's because, yeah, all your friends, like my best friends that I've had for my whole life, like none of my friends had children with any sort of disability.
Sure.
And so that, yeah, I mean, you just don't know, right? You don't know to text. So it's like you send the just the normal, like, "Hey man, thinking of you, like,
Yeah, yeah.
just because my wife told me to, right? Like,
Right, right.
and so like just having this disability dads group, like, and a text chain, like, so we send out if anyone's in the hospital or whatever,
Yeah,
like all the dudes like chime in,
nice.
and yeah, it's a huge like support system
Yeah, man.
that helps, and yeah, it's been awesome. So
It's a
it's
lot,
cool.
man. Like I'm sure you never thought you'd be here. I never thought that I would be here. And like that's what like with the Dad's Little Warriors, man, like I when I started it, I was kind of like, like how can I make this like not generic, but kind of generic because like I
Mhm.
didn't just because my situation was medical and everything like that, that kind of changed my life and like made this. Like I knew that I struggled before this. You know what I mean? Like before I even had like the complications and like the appointments and the stress and losing, not having my shop anymore and everything like that and like caregiving for Lucy, like I struggled in a totally different way. I was working 12, 16-hour days, running my shop and short-handed and short-staffed and not getting to spend that time, with Lulu when we just had her. And I'm like, it's for everybody. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
there's two way different spectrums and that's like what I really want to do with this thing is like show that like this is for all dads that like even if you're not physically able to be there because you are protecting and providing for your family, like that's a sacrifice.
absolutely.
You're sacrificing there or if you are dealing with the medical situations and the doctor's appointments and the stress and the anxiety of everything going on, it's just like it's so broad, like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I am born and raised here in Colorado Springs.
Hmm.
That's about an hour south of Denver.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I had a great upbringing. Have an older brother. I had some medical issues myself. Had a open heart surgery. Had a couple scoliosis surgeries, so I had two back surgeries.
Damn.
Um, Luckily, everything's good now.
Mhm.
No restrictions, kind of whatsoever. So I put my parents through it, definitely. With all my medical stuff. My brother has never like had any sort of medical complication, never broken a bone,
Of
nothing.
course not. Is he an older
Um,
brother or younger?
he's an older brother. He's an
Yeah,
older
no
brother, and
fucking
I'll tell
doubt.
you, after I found out I had to have a second back surgery, I was super pissed off. Um, didn't think it was fair. I actually told my mom, I was like, we were leaving the hospital. I'm like, I'm gonna go home and push my Tyler's name. I'm gonna push him down the stairs. That's a total joke, right? Like I'm gonna, because he's never the only time he's ever stepped inside of a hospital is to come see me,
Mhm.
right? And so
How old
um
were you? How old were you on that one?
so I had my heart surgery when I was one, so back in
Oh, no
'86,
shit.
and then my first back surgery when I was I think a freshman in high school, so in 2000, and then my second back surgery when I was a senior
No
in high
shit.
school. Yep. So and they were major surgeries. So so that was cool, in high school when you're already like
Oh, no doubt.
trying to fit in, and then you
Yeah.
got this
Big old fucking
big,
brace on
yeah,
and shit.
yeah. So that sucked. So anyway, um went to school, graduated from high school, went to school about 2 hours north here at University of Northern Colorado, and that's where I met my wife, Laura.
Mhm.
We got married in '09, so we're coming up on 16 years.
God damn.
Um, we tried to have kids a few years after we got married.
Mhm.
Um, Found out, there was infertility struggles.
Yep. Been
So
there.
we went through 10 years of infertility struggles. Super difficult, especially as social media became more and more prominent.
Yeah.
Uh, Everyone's getting pregnant. Every single holiday there's somebody announcing.
Oh, and you're talking about it because then that's all that's popping up on you
Yep,
on your wife's Facebook and all that
yep,
shit. We did
yep,
IVF with Lulu.
yep. So we during that time we decided, hey, let's try. It's obviously not working.
Mhm.
Um, we talked and we were like, we don't want to do the IVF at this time because we just felt like, the world was messed up.
Yep.
and we don't want to bring more kids into this world. So
Dude,
when there was
we are
already
too
kids here,
close to the fucking same. I swear
yeah,
to God, those are the exact words that come out of my mouth.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So yeah, so we started down the adoption journey internationally through Colombia. Um, and
No
the only
fucking
reason we did Colombia was because, the agency we were going through, I don't know if they just sold us on it, but they said, this is your best chance to get a baby.
Mhm.
And it's also moving very, very fast.
Yeah.
So 3 years pass, we're already approved in country. We're literally just waiting on a child.
Mhm.
3 years go by, COVID hits.
Mhm.
Of course, like, it shuts everything down.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're just kind of in limbo. We're getting older. By this time, we're like mid 30s. So my wife's like, if we're even going to think about having a kid, we need to do it like
Yeah,
now.
should get off the pot.
So yes, we then decided to go down the IVF route. So we did that. Um, Come to find out, you're not allowed to do IVF while you're in doing adoption.
No shit.
Yeah, so I get it. Like they don't
Mhm.
want you to,
Double
if you
dip.
were to get
Right.
pregnant and get matched, they think you're going to love your pregnant or your
Sure.
your natural child more than the adopted. So I get it. So and we were already frustrated, so they kicked us out. Kind of frustrated because you spend all this money and then they're just like, yeah, you're done.
Yeah, that's
So
tough.
anyway, so yeah, we do IVF. First three we do 3 rounds, they all fail. So 3 failed rounds of IVF, and then the fourth one ended up taking.
Okay.
So we're super excited. They do all the tests, like everything's going good. We
Mhm.
hit the 20-week scan, go in, and doctor tells us that the baby has a lethal form of skeletal dysplasia.
No shit.
It like exactly. That's exactly what I said. Like you got to be kidding me. All the emotions, right? Like
Fucking A.
tears, pissed off,
Yeah.
you're mad at God, like,
Yep.
why did you put us through this?
Mhm.
Like just to then take this baby away, right? They even
Right.
gave us like the options, like if you go till the end, like the most we've ever seen is a couple hours, maybe a day or two that the baby will survive.
Wow.
If not, like here's the pamphlets
Yeah,
for
yeah,
abortion, and you're like, yeah, well that's not even an option. So um luckily, like we did a bunch of tests, went up to Denver to Anschutz, which is the big hospital here in
yeah.
Colorado. Met with a team of geneticists, who ran a bunch of panels, and they found out that no, it's not going to be lethal.
Okay.
But they didn't know um, like what the spectrum was. So
Sure.
what Maggie has is it's called dystrophic dysplasia.
Mhm.
So it's a rare form of dwarfism.
Okay.
Um, it is on a like scale, so basically from severe to very minor.
Mhm.
At the time, like that's what they told us, right? We had to deliver up at Anschutz, that big hospital,
Mhm.
because they thought her jaw wasn't growing properly, and they were really scared that she wasn't going to be able to breathe.
Mhm.
So, yeah, there was nothing fun. Like, we're all excited, like, oh my God, after all these years of infertility, like, we
Sure.
finally get pregnant. We're so excited. And then, bam,
Yeah, man.
right? Like, completely takes all the joy away from 20 weeks um, up until she was born.
Yep.
Um, thank God, like, she was born. She could breathe. Like, she was doing awesome. Like she's doing awesome. Uh, the doctor says she's more on like the medium to mild end of the spectrum, which is a blessing. Um, she does, six therapy sessions a week.
Phew.
That I think helps a ton. Um, and she's just crushing it.
Yeah. That's
Um, there's still been like I think she's at 5 surgeries already, and she's
ah,
18 months old. Um,
mm.
And the crazy thing is, it's like it should have only been 3 scheduled surgeries, and 2 of them, like, I don't know if it's because of her diagnosis, but, like, she had a cleft palate.
Okay.
First one, they went in, did the cleft palate, and it opened.
Mhm.
So they went back in, did it again, it reopened, so she still has a hole in the back of her throat.
Wow.
But then she had a feeding tube. They went to remove it, routine surgery, everything's good. Um, they did the surgery that night at like 1 a.m. We ended up taking her to the ER because she was like laboring in her breathing. Come to find out, like her stomach had opened
Oh
and
my
like
god.
air and formula were getting into her tummy. So
Wow.
yeah, so we had to have like emergency surgery,
Yeah.
and luckily, thank God, yeah, now she's doing great. So, um, so with all that being said, like that's kind of our background, and yeah, a lot of emotions, a lot of anger, a lot of yeah, just I guess you can call it, what do you call that, like trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but now we're on the side, it's like a lot of joy, a lot of blessing, a lot of,
Yep.
it's I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade her diagnosis for anything. Like it is Maggie. Like she
Yeah.
is because of it. So
That's
yeah. So that's
awesome.
kind of a little bit about me. Hopefully that wasn't too long winded.
Nah, dude, that was I mean, that was good. I mean, it's all good shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She said she's only 18 months.
18 months. Yep. Yep. So
Wow.
she's trying to. She's not quite walking yet.
Yeah.
Um, can't talk yet. And we don't think it's because of the cleft palate.
Right.
But yeah, she's been crushing it, like I said, at therapy, and
Yeah.
she'll get there. So
Yeah.
it's just she's kind of stubborn,
That's
like her
cool.
dad.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, I mean,
So
we're pretty I mean, we're really, early into Lucy's stuff, you know what I mean? So, she'll be 8 months. The I guess she just turned 8 months. So, we're just taking it day by day, man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
um, we don't know much. You know what I mean? Like, we know what we know day to day.
yeah.
Like,
And if you don't mind me asking, like, tell me a little bit. Let me tell me your story.
sure. So with Lulu, we did IVF, and everything. We did like pretty much start to finish everything you could do, the heavy genetic testing and everything like that. Because, same thing we kind of went through, we couldn't get pregnant. So Sam and I were both previously married with no kids. We met we were about 30, I think, when we met. So we were getting there and we were both like, hey man, if we have kids, cool. If we don't, like not a big deal. And then, we started getting pretty serious and all that stuff, and we went down the same thing. I said, this world's too fucked up. I'm not gonna bring another kid in this world. Let's go ahead and make it, give a kid a better life. It's already here. And we tried doing the adoption, but we did local. So we started doing the local adoption thing, and we got down to about the end when they wanted some pretty crazy stuff. They wanted, some vaccines and shots and all kinds of crazy stuff that we really didn't, agree with. Um, we took all of the classes. It was kind of during COVID stuff, so everything was virtual. And, we ended up kind of backing out of it and then looked into the IVF and everything like that and ended up going that route. Um,
Crazy.
so yeah, I feel you there. Like
Yeah, it's
when you
crazy. We're
talked
like same
about that,
story.
it is bad. When you started talking about that, I'm like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like we are the same dude. So the deal with Lucy was, we had no preparation, no understanding. She had no underlying conditions or anything like that. It was pretty normal pregnancy and everything. Um, we were in labor and delivery. She was supposed to be induced like at least a couple days, I think 3 or 4 days before they actually called her in. Well, actually, she went in because she was feeling some pain. She was about 37 weeks and
Mm.
some, almost 38 weeks pregnant. They ended up go ahead and pushing us through into labor and delivery. We were there for almost 24 hours. Um, in labor and delivery, kind of just doing the thing. You know what I mean? Everything was pretty normal. And then shit kind of went haywire in labor and delivery and got rushed to emergency C-section. Um, so Lucy's condition is, called HIE. It's hypoxic hypoxic anemic encephalopathy or something like that. Some crazy shit. Pretty
Mhm.
much, long story short, it's a loss of blood flow or oxygen to the brain, which resulted in brain damage. She was, she was born stillborn and everything like that. She had a terrible APGAR score for like the first like 15, 20 minutes. Um, and they didn't think she was gonna make it. And like, dude, I'm fucking. I wish I could go a little bit more in detail on, kind of what I went through, and that's
Yeah.
why this started. But I can't quite yet. Maybe on another. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit about it. Um, but yeah, man, it was fucking tough, dude, because like I've never known anything like, and it's weird. Like I can't say that like we can take a title, but we kind of can. Like I can say things that I don't want to hear other people say. Like in my opinion, and it could be, a double standard or whatever anybody else, wants to call it. But like, man, when I picture, I don't even know if I'll kind of air this or not. This is just kind of me and you talking.
Mhm.
When I picture, somebody, as far as I knew, like growing up, when I seen, somebody different, I would think like the 60-year-old mom and dad, that like either accident or something like that, like something genetically was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, eh, and I did like not those terms back then, but like now my terminology of it would be that. But like you never know, things happen and like you don't understand that as a kid. You don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, like I wasn't a bully. I wouldn't consider myself a bully growing up or anything like that. Um, but like there's not enough knowledge about it. You know what I mean? Or like not enough people talking about it to where like, hey man, like it's crazy, man. Like we were talking about earlier with the whole social media thing. Like it can be the devil or it can be the biggest tool in the world.
Yep.
It's all how
Yep.
you handle it. Like my wife and I have became very good friends with a guy on TikTok. His name's Blake. I think his last name's Shelley or something like that. And he's got cerebral palsy, which Lucy also has. That was part of her HIE. She got diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And just like a month or two ago. And, you would never know that this guy had cerebral palsy or was anything different than anybody else until he started talking. Once you start talking, it's like, the hard to understand, wide mouth, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Stuff like that. But like
Mhm.
went to college. He's very intelligent. He, does all kinds of different things. He wrote a book, you know what I mean? Like it's just like so cool to see somebody like that with us being so early in that journey of months and being like you can, like anything. You can do anything that you want in this life if you have the foundation for it. Like and that's where my part kind of came in and also my wife is like, I'm sure I can kind of tell you guys are the same way. We're fucking in it, dude. There
For
is
sure.
no backing down, no backing out. If there's anybody in this world that can give our kids the opportunity that they should have, just like any other kid, it's fucking us,
Mhm.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. And then it's like I was mentioning earlier, like her diagnosis is her, right? Like I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yep.
Um, and you know what? And there was I was before we had Maggie, it seemed like we were constantly being like put into these groups, right? Like, oh, we're part of the infertility group.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're in the adoption group.
Yeah.
Now we're in the failed IVF group. And I was tired. I'm
Mhm.
so sick and tired of constantly like having these groups that I'm a part of, whether it was on social media, it was like a support group, whatever,
Yep.
and then we get Maggie's diagnosis and it's like,
Here we fucking go
I,
again.
yeah, here we go again, right? And like now this is lifelong. But I'll tell you what, like now we're part of the LPA, the Little People of America group.
Mhm.
Dude, that like I am so proud and like it's the coolest group to be a part of.
No shit.
So every single year they do this nationwide conference.
Mhm.
So last year was in Baltimore and
Okay.
we got to go.
God
Maggie
damn
was
it, man. Why couldn't we have fucking met last year?
I know, right? Like this was in it was in June, so it was probably a couple months
Fuck, yeah.
before I met you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was the people that we met, whether it be little people or parents
Mhm.
of little people, like some of the coolest people ever. We got to meet people, adults with Maggie's diagnosis,
Mhm.
and it just gives you hope that it's like, oh, you know what? Like they do everything that we do,
Yeah.
right? Like they drive, they live on their own, they're married, they have kids, like everything. They
What's
have,
life
they,
without some kind of fucking difficulty? You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, you
yeah.
just, what
They're the coolest people I met. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I love being a part of this community.
that's
Like
awesome.
I and so now my wife and I like made it like known like we will be going every single year, like taking Maggie to this conference. Because yeah, we met lifelong friends that
Yeah, that's
like some of
awesome.
our best friends that are either in it or live it themselves. So it's awesome.
Do you
It's
have anybody local, you know what I mean, to you
yeah,
that
so we do
that
so we do not with well, I shouldn't say that. There's one lady, an older lady up in Denver
okay.
who has Maggie's diagnosis, and she's fantastic. Gail's her name. But then, yeah, we have a bunch of I shouldn't say a bunch, but a few friends down here that have children with achondroplasia,
Okay.
which is like the most common form of dwarfism. So that's like what um, Vern Troyer,
What
and
makes hers different?
so it's just so I think they said there's like 300 different forms of
Holy
dwarfism.
shit.
Um, Hers is more like it affects their cartilage, their joints, their
Okay.
bones. She has more proportionate like head and everything, except her arms and like really small arms and
Okay.
legs. Um, the achondroplasia that I'm talking about, that's like what you like the actors you see on TV.
Mhm.
Um, they have achondroplasia.
Yeah.
So, um, so yeah, so it's fascinating, and like I was saying, like the LPA community is awesome,
Yeah.
like just awesome. So, um, one thing I don't know how long you want to go, but like one thing I do want to say, like to any dad out there, like listening to this, like if you just got a diagnosis or you just found out something about your child, like I just want to say, like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's a support system, like, reach out,
Mhm.
like, social media, like, that's how I found you,
Yeah.
like, just having conversations, like, you get it,
Yep.
and it's so healing as a dad, like, that may not have, like, friends or anyone that
Yeah.
understands, like, you feel isolated,
Yep.
right? And so, yeah, I just wanted to say, like, if you just got that diagnosis, like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna suck at first. Um, you're gonna feel like your world's falling down, but
Mhm.
y you're tough enough. Like,
Yep.
you will get through this. I mean,
Yeah.
you probably say the same thing, like,
Yep.
"It's gonna be
It's tough,
alright."
dude, every day. You know what I mean? Just like because like with Lucy's stuff, like there's no road, there's no path. You know what I mean? Like
Yep,
there's no known of what it is because she's so young.
yep,
She's only 8 months. And I'm sure the same thing. With Maggie and stuff like that. Like it could go 18 different ways. Or probably 18,000 different ways.
yeah,
Um, in such the short time, the first year has got to be tough. And I know it's tough on us. Man, it's tough on, my wife and I's relationship. It's tough on, our relationship with Lucy. It's tough on our relationship with Lulu, our 2-year-old. Like, we're back to back, man, and we're trying to figure this fucking shit out. And some days it works, some
yep,
days it don't, but you just pick your shit up and just go on to the next day.
yep, yep. Yeah, yeah, we live every day like, "Alright, what surgery's next?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we just, like, today hi, had a skeletal dysplasia clinic. and it was like praying all the way up, like, God, please don't let us not have any um, surgeries on the horizon. And
Yeah.
thank God, like it was a very good um, appointment. But there's like, hey, we need to watch this, and it's like,
Yeah. Yep.
all right, I know it's coming. I just don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but I will say like the one thing about her diagnosis, like definitely brought me closer, like to faith.
Mhm.
Um, Get down. Uh, yeah. So like one thing, and we weren't big in, we tried the church thing,
Mhm.
like leading up over all the years of infertility, but yeah, as you know, like going through and failed IVS, like you just get pissed off
Yeah, you're
at
fucking
God,
blunt, dude.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, why is this working for everybody else
Yep.
and it's not working for me? I can't get an adoption to go through. I can't get pregnant. I can't get like IVF. Everyone else gets it and it works just fine. It seems like it's like, why did this one fail? Why did this second one fail? Why did the third one fail?
Yep.
And so like, and then you get that diagnosis, and it was like, all right, God, like, are you even like, is this even, are you real? Like,
Yeah.
you just get so mad, and then I made a commitment to God that's like, if you like right before Maggie was born, I was like, if you save Maggie and like give her more on like the minor scale, like I promise, like I will raise her in the church, like I will 180 it
Yeah.
like with you.
Yep.
And it's funny how like a year into, he did that, like he came through, like,
Mhm.
and I wasn't holding up my end of the bargain. I say this, it's like I wasn't holding up my end of the deal.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty awesome. Like in October of last year, like God put like this an amazing new church like in
Yeah.
our lives, like these amazing, that friend that I was telling you about that started the dad's group,
Yep.
like just some of the most amazing people.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's just amazing, like the trajectory we're on um, these past few months. And there's some other stuff that's happened in our life um, that's drawn us closer, but still, it's like I just wanted to say that, like,
That's awesome, man. I mean, we're not really, church going people and stuff like that. And then we got out of the situation. My wife's pretty. She has a lot of friends and a lot of clients and stuff through photography, and it's brought us close. And we had a very big support system. Thankfully, with her clients and people that heard our story of what we were going through, and that's kind of how we survived. For probably 3 months, of our lives, between the month in the hospital and just like, yeah, I can't even say getting our shit together and getting
yeah,
home. We still don't have our shit together.
yeah,
Like we really are, still trying to figure life out and everything like that. But one of her close friends, they started going to a church, in like the next town over from us, and he's like, he's actually a cop. Her boyfriend or whatever, he's a cop, and they're about our age. And he was like, "Hey, man, look, like I don't know if you're religious or anything like that." He's like, "But like this church, like they talk to you. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
they don't preach. They don't just straight read out of the Bible. Like." When I go there, I feel like they're talking about my life, and like the stuff that I'm going through, and it's not just something that's read out of the book. And like you guys are more than welcome to come with us anytime you want. Just try it out. And we went a couple times. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And like the first time we went, dude, I'm not gonna lie, and I consider myself a pretty tough dude. And I was a bitch. I'm like, all right, man, I'm trying to like fucking do one of these. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And
Oh
like,
man, what's that?
motherfucker.
Yeah, who's cutting onions in here?
It was, man. It hit, and I'm like, God damn it. And it was like one of our first times, like really out of the house, out of the hospital, home with Lucy and everything like that. And we went back a couple times and everything, and we do enjoy it. It's one
Yep.
of these things that's pretty cool. When we do get to go there and everything like that. But I totally get that because I wasn't raised religious or anything like that.
Nope, neither was I.
But things happen, and and things change, and that's one thing that I talked to Sam about too, is like, the church community is such a big group and like they come together. You know what I mean? And like it was funny the last time actually that we went, I was sitting there and Sam was getting Lulu out of like the little play area, that they play in and all that stuff when you can, do the kids, in there. And I'm just standing there with Lucy in a stroller and everything. And an older lady comes up to me. I'd say older lady. I mean, she was probably my parents' age, maybe 60, 65, something like that. And she was like, she seen my hat. I guess she seen my hat, and she was like, I've seen your, dad's little warrior stuff, and I think that's really awesome. And I'm like, man, maybe this is a place for me.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely is.
this is somewhere that I can kind of call home and like kind of pull guys together, and we have such a hard time, and we've talked about this a couple times, and I've talked about it a lot, that guys just have a hard time, like just, coming out and communicating and, talking and everything like that. And that definitely seems like it's one of the places that guys feel comfortable to where, like I said, I'm not asking for guys to, sob story. And my wife and I are both the same. And I'm sure you guys are the same people where like we don't
Mhm.
ask for pity. You know what I mean? Like, don't pity me. Don't, feel sorry for me. Like, it is what it is, man. We didn't ask for this. You know what I mean? Like, life fucking happens, man. And, we just roll with the punches and it's not easy. We fight every single day. I'm sure as time goes on, it's going to get a little bit easier and kind of turn into a new normal and everything like that. But Lucy is something, man. Like that girl when she does smile and she's not losing her shit. She's a fucking just like ball of joy, man. We take those minutes by minute every time we can get it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, man, I would just challenge you or whatever. It's like, yeah, if that's your church, definitely just try to get there because I'll tell you what, like having God on your side, in your life is definitely, at least for me, has been life changing.
Yeah,
Just these past couple months. Said it's only been since October,
yeah,
and we've been through, that the surgery with Maggie, the ER visit, the second one, and then
yeah,
something else that happened right around Christmas. And it's amazing what the church community will
sure,
rally around you.
yeah,
And yeah, and you just find a lot of cool dudes there,
yeah.
so yeah,
So like,
not to
what
go down that route, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Everybody's kind of got their thing, and it's always good to hear everybody else's kind of perspective on what's worked for them. You know what I mean? And that's what I was getting ready to ask you, like, when you were kind of going through it, because I'm sure, obviously it was difficult. One, when you first heard that she had the diagnosis that she had, and two, just you know, fear, the worry, and the hope of like when she was actually born. Like, what got you through that?
Oh, my wife,
Yeah,
we definitely leaned on each other, um, and then prayer,
yeah,
uh, and a lot of hope. What's funny is, thank God we found out afterwards, but um, so I told you we had to deliver up in Denver at Anschutz, in the maternal fetal medicine center. And we found out after the fact, the nurse says that they only deliver babies that have a 50% chance of survival.
no shit.
And I was like, oh, damn.
Wow.
Thank you for,
Yeah,
telling me that after the fact and
yeah,
not before.
yeah,
Um, but, what got me through it is just, yeah, a whole lot of hope and prayer and nerves and my wife and I, I don't know, man. Just, yeah, prayer. Because you don't know, right? When you're going through it, you don't know what the next 10 minutes is going to look like.
yep, yeah,
So my wife had to have a C-section as well. They immediately take her and doing all the tests, and I'm
yeah,
there, and I'm a first time dad, and I'm like,
yep,
oh my God, like, I'm freaking out,
Sure.
and then because it's a C-section, like, my wife's still laying there, they're, wrapping everything up, and,
Yeah.
uh, they take Maggie into the NICU, and so I go with Maggie,
Mhm.
and I'm like, dude, literally, like, ghost, right? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
"I don't know what I'm doing." My
Yep.
wife's not even with me. I've never even, like, held a baby
Big ol'
before just
hands.
because I don't like holding kids that aren't
Yeah.
mine. And so I'm like, "I've never held a baby. This baby's
Right.
already tiny because she's got dwarfism." I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god," like, it
What
was
do I
just
do?
talk about a whirlwind, but
Mhm.
yeah, and, she came and just tearing it up now, so, uh,
How
but
long
yeah,
were you guys in the hospital, like, initially after she was born?
so 21 days. We were in
Okay.
the hospital 21 days. A lot of it was
Crazy how
because of
we
her
remember
feeding.
that exact number.
Yep, yep, and you know what's crazy? I'll try to keep this short, is,
Okay.
uh, it was mainly because of her feeding.
Yeah.
And what we came to find, so she ended up having her a feeding tube
Mhm.
put in because she was falling behind on the chart. She
Yep.
just wasn't
Oh, yeah.
eating enough, and
Mhm.
she was aspirating a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, after we got out and after a few times at our, primary care physician, we found out that everyone, the NICU doctors, like the ER doctors, our PCP, everyone was tracking her on a normal growth
Oh,
chart.
no shit.
And so I'm a brand new dad. I didn't know that there were
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
growth charts. So
Right.
guys out there, just to let you know, there's growth charts for everything. I didn't know this, right? And so, um, my wife, we have a good, now we're, have a lot of friends with kids with Down syndrome, and
Yeah.
so a friend of my wife's was like, who has a child with Down syndrome, was like, "Hey, there's a Down syndrome growth chart. Is there a growth chart for child with dwarfism?"
Sure.
And we're like, "What are you talking about?" Right? Like, we didn't know.
Be different.
And
Yeah.
so we asked our PCP, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's growth charts for everything. There's growth charts for African American kids. There's growth charts
Right, right.
for everything."
Yeah.
He's like, "Let me go look." And he's like, "Well, there's not one for her specific diagnosis, but there is one for other form of dwarfism."
Yeah.
He tracked her on the growth chart, and she was like way above the growth chart.
Did you lose your
So, dude,
or were
I
you
was
just too
like, "You
excited
have
or
got."
what?
It was one of those things that, like, I didn't really, I like laughed. I'm like, "You
Yeah.
can like, is this for real? Like, all you doctors, no one's thought like, hey, let's track her on." So, should she have been on a feeding tube? I don't know,
Right.
but that could have avoided that surgery at the beginning. Then the two, like, emergency surgery. It's like all this stuff because of the doctors, and
Yeah.
that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, no, I get it, dude. We're on the same
But
boat,
yeah,
man. Yeah, you just
yeah,
you can't trust anybody at that point. You're like, you got to second guess. You want to put these trust in these doctors and everybody else that's supposed to be, top notch and doing their job and everything like that. And it's like one
yep,
little measurement can totally change everything.
yeah. The doctors aren't always
Well, and I hate
correct.
to second guess them because like I don't like somebody telling me how to do my job. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like when I
and they're
have
supposed to be professionals.
exactly. When I have my shop, if somebody fucking second question me, I'm like, take your shit somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? This is what it is. But I was very thorough and very, one on one with what was going on. Like, I made sure shit was right. But like this, I'm like, these fucking people.
Yeah. So we're trying to transfer her skeletal care out to Nemours.
Yeah,
Um, you know, would we ever move there? That would be a, like, last resort type
sure.
thing. What's funny is right now our insurance doesn't cover going out there. So,
Of course it does.
um, yeah, of course it doesn't. So, yeah. So hopefully, like, in my, or what do you call it, like,
Enrollment thing. Yeah,
open enrollment, yeah, thank you, which is in May. I'll hopefully get some insurance that will cover it. Because
yeah,
when I signed up, like, that was before we knew about Nemours, so it
mhm,
wasn't even a thing. We have,
sure.
the one thing about Colorado is we have great Medicaid.
Good.
Um, yeah, I guess that's another thing you find out when you have kids with disabilities.
Yeah,
I
man.
never knew
Found
about
that
the
shit out
system.
real quick.
Yep, and so I guess Colorado has one of the best Medicaid systems, in the nation, so we are fortunate for that,
Yeah,
but since Nemours is not here, that doesn't matter, it wouldn't be covered, so,
yeah,
yeah, so I gotta change that, so uh but yeah, we definitely gotta get out there, which
yeah.
we're trying to do, ASAP. we met the doctors, the neurosurgeon
Mhm.
and the orthopedic surgeon when we went out to that LPA event, that Little People of America, because they send out surgeons from all over the nation to come and meet. It's pretty cool. Like, and so
Yeah.
you can so
Well,
so
that's
yeah,
what it
so
reminds me of.
hopefully
So we started watching, I don't know if you've watched or not, that Braylon Out Loud, the girl with Tourette's. Have you seen that?
no, but I've seen commercials for it.
Bro, that show is fucking awesome. Like,
I've heard that. I've heard it's pretty funny.
it is so fucking funny, and, like, she did a convention, you know what I mean, with Tourette's and everything like that. She's talking, you gotta check it out, man. It's fucking hilarious. Like, I seen her on TikTok before she got, the TV show and all that stuff. That girl is, like, fucking off the wall. It's pretty good,
Yeah,
you'll
check it
definitely
out.
check it out. I could fucking go on forever with you, man. Like,
Absolutely. Yep.
we definitely gotta catch up if you
Yeah,
ever.
we can do this again some other time.
Yeah, man. Regardless whether, podcast or whatever, we would definitely have to jump on FaceTime or something like that sometime, see how you're doing, see what's going on. But um it was great having you on, man. And
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm definitely thankful that I got to meet you and all that stuff. I appreciate you supporting me and other dads. The amount of times that you've ordered stuff for other dads and everything like that, man, like that's what this is all about. This is something, I picture it huge and big. I don't care how fast it grows as long as it kind of keeps on going and people, see it and understand it and feel it, man, because I consider it more of a movement than, a business or, anything like that when it comes down to it. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and if you're ever going in for anything, or need any support or some, definitely hit me up, and I'll, definitely be able to talk to you. And as long as you're still grinding with Dad's Little Warriors, I'm definitely there to support you.
it's
So
not going
for
anywhere,
sure.
man.
So
Yeah, that's one good thing about this stuff is that like I try to put in as much work as I can, with it around life and all that stuff, but there's no reason for it to go anywhere. Like I feel like it's needed. I think it was needed before I even went into the situation because man, I was really struggling and like I'm not lying when I said like when I started this and I was doing stuff and like trying to support other dads, like that was the biggest help for me. Like I didn't do the therapy and stuff like that and everything. It was just me knowing that like I could, help somebody else or just bring awareness that like this is an issue. You know what I mean? And you can still be a tough dude and be like, hey man, I still need to get some shit off my chest. Like I still feel fucking hate, numb, sad, mad, happy. Like it's not just about being fucking mad all the time. It's just it can be a little bit of everything and support goes all the way around, whether it's you're happy or you're mad or sad or just don't even know how to feel.
yep, absolutely.
Cool, guys. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us as Dad's Little Warriors, and make sure you check out all our apparel and stuff like that on dadslittlewarriors.com. It was a honor to have Logan on, man. He was a big supporter with Dad's Little Warriors from day one, and it was great to hear some of his story and some of his insight on being a dad, and everybody's story is different. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Thank you.